Welcome to the Astral Weather Report for January 16th through 21st. I'm Jeremy Gene Wilson with the Light Army, and I come on here every 6 days to share with you the astral neutrino changes in our outer environment, the astral weather, so that you can use this energy to your advantage, reduce confusion and conflict, and leverage it to your benefit. So the theme for this next 6 days is all about meaningful direction. And when I say meaningful direction, it's all about like seeing our limits, adapting to the path we want to be on, and creating some form of meaningful expression, both with ourselves and others, to create a structure that frees us from our current limitations and obstacles. So the mental and emotional forecast you can expect this next 6 days is really a reality check paired with a desire to make sense of it and talk about it. So you might, or people in your life might be feeling just confronted by your options, by your limits, by rules and constraints, whether it's financially, in your relationships, in your health, in your purpose. You know, if you're committed day to day to something that feels more like obligation than a commitment to something you would devote yourself to even if you weren't paid for it, that's going to be really obvious in your internal state. So you might feel a frustration just with the speed things are moving in your life. You know, every single one of us in January thinks back to last January, like, man, I thought I'd be further along. So there's this pull to explain, to teach, to narrate what's going on inside, what you're experiencing. And you might just feel some restlessness. A lot of people feel a lot more tired and they feel inclined to just retreat, you know, lay up on the couch and allow their energy to become stagnant because of the exhaustion that comes from restlessness. And that's when your structure feels restrictive, you know, you just want to escape it. So this is intentional, right? This transit is so that we can have clarity about how to move more freely. You notice the shackles and chains energetically in your life, and it points in a direction to free yourself from those. So these limits aren't punishment. You know, it can make you feel like a victim on some capacity, but it truly is a container for progress and growth. So just know that freedom comes when you work with constraints, not against them. It's about doing what you can with what you have from where you are instead of measuring against what you don't have yet. The sun has moved into the 60th signature. In human design, we call it the gate of limitation. Some people call it the gate of mutation. In the I Ching, it's labeled as limitation. It's all about that. Like when what was doesn't work anymore, we have to change, and nothing changes if nothing changes. And that, by definition, is how we mutate to a new understanding and a new pathway. So this can show up, you know, just as a form of frustration and resistance to the rules and feeling impatient with those constraints, pushing against reality rather than learning how you can use those to build. And the best way to align with this is just first accept your limits, get clear on what they are and accept them. Don't resist them, right? What you resist persists. And then start innovating. I wonder, what could I do to create more structure to free myself, free my calendar, free my energy, right? And just, I would call it a sense of like disciplined evolution by getting really clear on the actual steps that if they were in place, yeah, this wouldn't be a restraint anymore. So fast forward in your mind, be like, all right, I imagine a reality where I'm no longer constrained by these limits, and then start reverse engineering what that might actually look like. The earth has moved into gate 56. It's all about the storyteller, right? The mind is a meaning-making machine. The 56 signature is all about finding meaning through experience, right? If we step on a nail while we're going down a trail, we usually learn not to take that path again or pay more attention to where we step. So this can show up as escapism. You might want to sedate the emotions you're feeling. And what I mean by that is drinking, smoking, staying busy, scrolling the news feed, distraction, right? Talking about it, complaining about it instead of actually integrating what will solve that problem permanently. But most importantly, the greatest way this shows up is just like chasing stimulation. And we have so many options in the modern world to stay stimulated. Your greatest power is to share the wisdom you've learned. What lessons have you learned? What mistakes are you not going to make twice? You know, get really clear on what's distracting you and what are you distracted from, and focus your intention on what you want instead of trying to avoid what you don't want. Avoidance has never solved any problem. In fact, conflict avoided is conflict multiplied. So it really is about, harvesting the meaning and the lessons from your experiences, especially the ugly ones that have caused pain, and, having some grounded expression about what you're committed to moving forward. And the core lesson of both of these is really just experience becomes valuable, even if it's not a positive experience, when you integrate that experience in a powerful way, not just explain it away or be a victim to it, right? So learn lessons from your losses and you'll never lose. What to avoid this next few days, just like I said, complaining about your limits and the problems instead of using that to your advantage. Almost every successful person I know, they're like, my bank account was at $27 and I made a decision to never go back there. Well, wasn't that a positive experience that then gave you an opportunity to break through that limit? Don't escape responsibility. You have exactly what you've committed to before now. The biggest thing to avoid, I already said it, don't distract yourself, sedate the emotions. Don't go over talk and complain. Don't resist structure out of pride. I'm going to make it work. It's a matter of time. Don't look for shortcuts around reality. Really work within your constraints creatively. Turn your experience into insight, lessons, and wisdom, and teach only what you have embodied. Don't tell someone else to do something you're not yet doing. A lot of times we learn from our mistakes and we still don't apply it. And battles repeat or remember them, right? You can either have the same battle 100 times or remember how you lost the last one and make a change. So use structure to stabilize your momentum and let your limits and obstacles clarify what matters most. I would advise you to just really identify one real constraint right now and design around it one at a time. Turn whatever friction or problem or past failure that you're focused on into some kind of system improvement. Ask yourself, what could I have done differently to avoid that pain, that problem, and what can I do in the future to prevent it? And then create a system, a process, a method to do just that. Write and talk only after you've sat down and integrated your thoughts and words into structure. Take every crisis, break it down to a set of problems, and every set of problems down into tasks and solutions to solve those problems. And just commit to one discipline practice for the full cycle. Like I said, you might feel a little more tired, you might feel a little more frustrated, you might have a little bit more burn it downness, right? And while yes, it is important to embrace some of that, do it diplomatically and strategically, not impulsively. Obviously, if we have a field of weeds, we've got to burn the field down to grow ripe crop and fertile soil. But I don't encourage you to just go start lighting things on fire right now. Get clear over, the habits that'll support you overcoming that for the long term. And just a couple questions to be with. What limitation are you resisting that could actually refine you? This thing didn't come into my life to, one of my favorite little quotes, it's like, I can let this define me, refine me, outshine me, refine me, or I can choose to leave it behind me. And what if, what limit, what problem, what obstacle in your life could actually refine you, help get you on a positive trajectory? When the car's in the ditch, we know to get it back on the road. And just like, how can I share my experience in a way that creates clarity, not noise? How can I share my lessons with others that helps them avoid those problems as well? So that's really the Astral weather report for the next 6 days. Just know there's going to be a little more angst, a little more frustration, a little more impatience with you and all of the people you interact with. Just demonstrate more grace. Optimism is not a default. Sometimes we have to work really hard to be optimistic. And ultimately, we're the apex predator on this planet because of our pessimism. Because we focus on worst case scenarios, we prepare to avoid them. So this next few days, have some extra practices in your life to anchor yourself in the possibilities of what's available, even if it's not in your life now. Live from what's possible, live from possibility, and ultimately do your very best to remain optimistic, enthusiastic, and don't lose your ambition. Don't lay around, don't just mope, don't complain. Move the ball forward, get a lot of steps in. There's a lot of extra electrical energy in the air right now. That's what I got for you. So those of you that have been showing up to the Breakthrough Lab, I appreciate it. Every week on Wednesday, I host a free training until we hit 100 people showing up for that, I'll start charging for it, but it's just a value add. I want to compassionately give back to the community. And every week we switch back and forth between what will allow you to make more money and understand the skill sets and the mindsets to do that strategically right now in the modern world, and also how to do so without selling your soul, how to decode your genius, how to leverage tools, technology to be more you, to be more present, to do more what you love. Last week I did a talk on the spiritual nature of money, and I gave some very clear tactics how to access more of it and how to enjoy it when it shows up. And this next week I'll be diving into a little deeper concepts of soul science. So if you've ever wanted to live a happier life with higher energy, I'm going to share my very best this week. I'll see you there Wednesday. Reach out to me on Instagram or whoever invited you to watch this. And in the meantime, infinite love, go Bears, shine on. Bye for now.